This is not the usual interview. I'm not the star of it. You see this screen only because you wait for another interview. I know one YouTuber who would say this is clickbait. It was indeed our common talk, me, Viserion, Lucas Rath, and developers of this game. To give you some background, see my first movie, How the Movement Good Change even started. Luca was proposed the meeting when the movement started. He was cordial enough to invite me and Viz to this very meeting. We are truly grateful for this acknowledgement in such an important task. I personally had 3 mic drops during playing this game. One of them was interviewing Girls No One, talking with the developers, actually having the impression that I'm able to somehow change this game to present players' view is my second one. This material is cut in rush. I personally cannot understand some scraps, I'm sorry. I'll try to add a little description whenever I feel it's helpful. It's not about the views. It's about our letter that Viz wrote with the help of little elves. It's about our will to stay in game and simply enjoy it. Thanks to all 1600 people who signed the letter. You can still do it. Link is in the description below. Thank you for answering to the poll. The link is also in the description below.
Do you guys mind to have a brief introduction?
I can start.
Which kingdom you were?
Yeah, so it's Lucas Rath, Kingdom 551. And I just want to verify, so is there 2 other players online? Is it Vis and Muffin?
Which kingdom you from?
I currently play in 554.
554. Okay, thank you. And let me show you some how we do this. I think the total process should be within like 40 minutes, and you guys can describe the questions one by one, and the developer will answer each of them after post one. So we do one question you posted, and we answer that one, the example one. So we do that one by one in order. So let's start with the first question, please.
Okay. Who would like to start? You want me to start quickly? So it's Lucas Rath. First of all, I want to thank you guys for doing this meeting, and we really appreciate it. I think it's all of us. All of our goals are to make the game better, like you said, a better experience for the players and for the developers. And I think most of my concerns are going to be covered by Muffin and by Vis. And I'd almost, I'd rather listen in and maybe chime in if you don't mind when I maybe see something I could maybe add. But they have a lot to go over, so I don't want to take too much time. I think it might be better spent to not repeat the same things, the same questions they have. But I do want to say that, I am a max player. Number 6 in the game. I think I've talked with some of the bigger players, and they've had some concerns as well as myself and a lot of others, some frustrations, and we're just worried that the game is quitting. There's a lot of people that are frustrated, and the bigger players had basically 3 things that were really important to them. I don't need to discuss them all because I think, like I said, Muffin and Vis are going to go over it, but Chris B, Troll, ST1, Bear, those are the bigger players, and I've talked to them, and they wanted me to just let you know that the 3 main points for them are just, too many updates at the same time. That 3-in-1 update that you just had, it was a lot. And it just, it upset people. So if you, and I think they're going to talk about that. Muffin's going to talk with you about that, so I don't want to repeat the same things, but there's concerns there, and we just hope that maybe you consider slowing those down and making the game more affordable. And and it's okay to have more bigger players, not just the top 5 to 10 that are max, but have some more players that have some more competition. And then the second thing that I think we players were concerned with is just also this migration, the way it was introduced. It just seems unfair that it started that way, Kingdoms 1 through 100. We appreciate the fact it's tough. God's in a tough position. because you you're trying to keep people happy. You're trying to release this, but it's also difficult for a kingdom like mine. Kingdom 551. I'm the max player. You're basically with kingdom 1 through 100. They're the oldest kingdoms. They have more. They have bigger players, more T13s than us. And basically, look what happened in Kingdom 52. It's not their fault. But they have a lot. They have like huge players now. They got out of the top 10 players in the game, got 5 of them. And so it's a concern that now if you go to, for example, kingdoms 100 through 200 on the next one, and I don't know if you're doing that monthly, so we can maybe discuss that. But I think it would have been more fair to maybe cover it. Allow the newer kingdoms to migrate first, because otherwise it just doesn't seem fair. The third issue I think that the bigger players had was just the glitches. We spend a lot to play the game. We love the game and the people, but when you look forward to an event and then you can't get in the event, or one of like in UAC maybe one of the kingdoms has a hide in the corner and they have all these little bases around it. You can't even get in. It glitches. It screws up the whole UAC. You know what I mean? So those are the 3 main things. I think I'm just going to stay quiet now. I appreciate you guys, but I'm going to let Biz and Muffin, discuss the other items because they have a lot to cover. Thank you.
Right. So there's a bunch of questions. So the first one should be are you willing to consider to stop releasing multiple new items? That's what you mentioned about frequent updates. Is that right?
Yes. Is it anyhow possible to divide those multiple releases? And last release was a perfect example because you released a new item, which was airship parts. You released new university, and you released new gear, which means that top max spenders like Luca had to spend triple. So our question is, are you willing to slow down this update? So we don't mind spending, right? But just it would be in a steady way of focusing on one thing.
Yeah, sure. So let's just answer the first one. 丁宁，现在就回答那个1.1，是否愿意停止放出新的
功能？然后老就是之前玩家已经习惯的这种方法，会保持原来的对待。
So we have heard your suggestions and we value your voices. So here's the idea that we are about to slow down the updates of the new items, and according to the process of this item, we are willing to give the priority to the players, not only the top players, but for all players in all kingdoms, so that it can accustom for the players of the all kingdoms, and you should have you will get enjoyed in the next update. You will enjoy in the next update.
So do you mean that this is possible to slow down the updates to get only one? Because I'm not sure of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, that would be
wonderful.
great. Yeah, that's amazing information. Well, basically, we don't have a lot to add around this topic because
I do. I definitely do.
let me just say it was covered by 75% of the people answering this question. So that means 3 out of 4 people wants to slow down the update. So I'm taking voice to this.
So with slowing down, I know that you guys have said yes. I'm excited. I just wanted to add that I guess I need clarification from everyone on the call first and foremost, that the letter that was sent was read by who is on the call. We are all understanding what we're referencing.
We have the chief manager of our developer here. So he said about the updates. He said we have a plan. We had a plan to adjust the pace of those updates. That's the answer of the last question.
We had sent in it's titled like community letter.
Okay.
Have
I
you
see.
read it?
Yes, of course.
I was like, we are literally basing all of the things that we're talking about on what's in there, and I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Yeah, definitely will read that. Yes. Yeah, because many players post a letter to our line account, the WebP customer service, also. So WebP customer service posts their players' comments and feedback or suggestions, which means that letter to the development team. So we read it. Yes.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
So with like slowdowns and stuff, it's not just for I mean, clearly it will benefit us, but it also benefits you in the long run. Like I feel like there are things that have slowed down, sped up through the longevity of the game, and like update staying at where your stat update, so curiosity, airship parts, guard weapons, those stat boosters, those being like a once a year upgrade, like needs to stay consistent. In the past 6 months, you've released those major updates in a 6-month time span and 6 other major spends. So those other spends should have been done in between, and like the players really need to know that consistently for the rest of the game that those things will stay either every other or one at a time. Like not just for the next update, like for the future.
Okay, I got it. So let me translate those things to developers. Okay, the answer is sorry. We just got an answer. We're considering about to slow down the updates as well as the expense stuffs, the pay stuffs like the employee university don't just show up in one update with like airship parts sort of stuff.
And rally here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. We're working on that. All right. So I can see the next question is let me see bugs.
Here, I think I may not be actually the right person to talk about the bugs because I myself experience almost none. But maybe because of that, I'm exactly the perfect one because I experience only these very crucial bugs. And one group of them is very poor matching. So I play in Kingdom 33, which is one of the strongest kingdoms in the whole game, and they constantly receive poor matchups for Darklands. Like they receive farms, so the event is not playable for them. So this is one example. Second example is that KVK matchups, especially for the top 50 kingdoms, are always the same. And my first question is it easy to implement some kind of a change in the matching system? Make it more randomized or less randomized, because I don't know how your system is built.
Already got this answer. So the first one is about the bug. Recently we get started to solve those bug things So especially the UAC transportation issue and some glitches. For example, like the big events, the glitches of big events. We're focused on those things on November. And for matchups, we used to focus on pay more attention on the difference between players. So this will get something like make players feel unbiased or unfair. So we're considering about to rearrange the matchup algorithm. So yeah, that's it. That's it. That answers our two questions.
So
We're gonna do something about.
So my next question, I think you partially answered that. It would be easy just to consider more time slots for Darklands, for example. I'm referring Darklands because this event seems to be the most vulnerable. So maybe that would be a good option, just to increase the slots to release servers.
Okay, so more focus on the Darklines, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, about the Darklines, that's the most significant part for the recent plans. So we're now focused on fixing the bugs of Darklines right now. We're doing that.
Great.
So we're working on that.
And my next question is about UAC, about Alliance campaign. Many alliances complains that they are not able to port in, especially when the hive is in the corner, basically porting in and playing the event. And I may assume that the problem is extensive spam of small castles, which players build and abandon. Would it be possible to remove them on your side, because there's like hundreds of them in every kingdom, and we think it may be some kind of solution for that.
然后前两次引发了一些新的问题，然后这一次我们彻底解决了这个问题。
Okay.
Heated conversation.
All right. Okay. On this point, okay, for USC transportation issue, we the first part, the tiny castles, level 4 or level 6, those things, we try to remove them, but those players just create a large amount of them just before the event start. So it's kind of tricky. It's not a good solution for this issue. So we consider about the other way to solve the problem, which is we expand the range on map to make it possible to transport. So you can transport fire more. I mean, other position, other tiles on the map.
Okay, so your idea is to expand that territory where we can port.
Yes, or
yeah,
we'll do the transportation.
Yeah, great.
I mean, I think that's creating a lot of gold burn for players who have to port farther because of all of the dummy castles that are there. I understand. Yes. I understand that what you're saying with people just create these accounts. But I must counter that with the fact that all of those corner alliances are older kingdoms when it was easy to just make a dummy account. A lot of those are existent castles on the map. No one, I'm telling you, you have made your startup screen so annoying to current players.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say. I really am sorry to say it that way. Yeah. We know how to play the game. We don't want to go through that
tutorial,
that initial experience. It takes us like an hour to get back to our main castle when we're trying to build. No one wants to do that because it takes so long. The newer kingdoms are not the kingdoms who are making all of those dummy accounts. They're there and have been there from before you changed the new login system, whatever it's called. Those dummy accounts that have been there, that are in corners, that have existed from when it was easy to just go in, build a castle, abandon it, build another one, drop it, abandon it. Those are the castles that are on the map that we're talking about. Like, those are the castles that need to go away, that have very much been abandoned at level 6 for probably 2 years.
Yeah, so probably reviewing first 100 kingdoms would do the job.
Yes, but truth is, the point that you mentioned is that it doesn't mean we give up the solution to remove those dead castles. It's just because of someone still locked in.
If they're bound, I completely understand. If they're bound and they're being logged into, 100% you can. But if they're not, I can get almost guarantee without seeing any figures on your end that 50% of those castles were never bound.
Or even 70. Yeah.
Facts.
Okay, I get it. So outside this issues, this problem to depth again.
Okay, so I have one question here, maybe not totally connected with the topic. I'm not sure why I put it here. There's a general consensus among the players that we don't know much about guards, about how the skills are triggered, how they work together, how damage is triggered wherever they go to the battle. Would you consider any extra information or some kind of a different display of guards so we could understand guards better? For example, different representation of the guards in reports.
进展不太快，可能还需要再等一等。
Okay. We have considered about is there's a way to show how guards work in the battle report, but it has to say that it's very easy to make misunderstanding. So we're working on that, but it's just need time to find a proper way to show how they work.
Okay, so I think Lucas started with slowing down the updates, and this is very important to us. But we don't want to deprive you from the profit. I hope that's understandable. We don't want to make Guns of Glory free game. We want you to make money on us still. And point 3 of our questions, part 3, is something which could give you more profit again, because it's about the stuff in game which are free or which are in the events. So my first question is
okay, free rewards in events or in shops?
Yes,
right?
Everywhere.
Okay,
yeah, so,
everywhere.
So this is my personal huge I don't know how to say this, help me, like it hurts me a lot, this aspect of the game, that you do not update many places, many stores, many events accordingly to the newest updates. So my first question is, I will read it. Will you adjust any free source of material when new one is introduced to the game? For example, if you introduce gems, such elements in-game should be updated. Guard treasure hunt, new world, shooting gallery, goods exchange, hero store, crystal mines. Because these places contain gems as a reward. Is that possible to bind it somehow? To one would influence other places where gems are the reward. This is the example, of course, the gems here.
Okay, so about the rewards, we have different mirrors. Firstly, for the house events, stuff like KK, Kingdom Rage, UAC, the rewards, Darklands, etc. we do some we do the normal rewards updates, just like we have done this all the time. And what's more, we consider to improve the way we putting the rewards into the game, and also we will follow up the way we update the rewards of the Douglas modes to meet the different needs of all players in the game. And secondly, for some normal activities, such like expedition, spirit mining, etc. And also for the threats, we will improve the levels to get the rewards updated. And besides, we show the customer to some convenience, like the auto deploy button to decrease so that to reduce the time for purchasing the items. And secondly, about some function that we may not frequently maintained, like hero store, merchant wandering. This function may not have some disruptions with the content of the current version. So owing to it, we cannot simply to improve the rewards, but we will review it, and I'm sure it takes time, but this function will be definitely updated in the future.
I have a follow-up question before I speak, which I think is on our list somewhere. It might be in a 5-point. This is your business. So as a business, I'm very inquisitive to whether or not you guys put any funding into the psychology of the behaviors that you create through the type of game that you have.
Okay, we surely value the players' voices and suggestions, and we routinely to roll out some tasks to gather your voices and suggestions. It may take time to improve the GOG better.
I don't think that was a question. This asked if you're considering psychological aspects when creating some game mechanisms.
心理学一样的。
So, excuse me, I get a quick question of this. Invest in psychology behind of game development. So the point is, which side? Customer side or on GOG team side?
No, on the GOG team side. You have created and GOG a habit-forming product, right? Guns of Glory is a habit-forming product, and there is a whole infinity cycle to what that does to the psychology of the players to keep them spending and keep them online and keep them engaged frequently. It is literally built-in psychology to gaming, and you have completely broken the cycle by creating a 400% increase on material cost without semi-matching your reward scale to combat your influx of cost. The letter literally says something along the lines of like, imagine that inflation rate to an economy. 400% cost every month for a year, twice a year, when nothing's slowed down yet. And like, you can imagine players' frustrations with that cost. That's psychological. If rewards match, like this is factual. It's how reward scales work. It's why we give children gold stars. If they do something, they get a gold star, and then they want to repeat the behavior. If they've done a whole lot of things that deserve 10 gold stars, and you only give them one, they're not going to do it again. Like that's the psychology of I'm sorry. I'm
So,
sorry.
yeah. This is happening in game at the moment.
I'm starting curious. What's the way?
But that's how players feel. They feel like they're getting one gold star.
Yeah.
Uncharted Seas. Let's talk about Uncharted Seas for a second. You gave me one star on a billboard of what I should have gotten for a full month worth of time, energy, and effort.
Mm-hmm.
One single star. But that's the reward scale for everything. That the psychology behind that is so utterly messed up. You are literally running people away from the game instead of feeding the addiction that GOG is. We're addicted. We are perfectly fine with the fact that we're addicted, but the way that the addiction cycle of a habit-forming product, how that cycle runs, is literally based on reward. And we go back all over again, and we'll go back in, and now we're closer to the next reward tier, and we'll spend more. And then you get the release of upgrading, and then it brings you back through the cycle all over again. By not consistently upgrading your rewards, you break that cycle, you break the habit, and you break our addictions.
So basically, fixing all those free elements in the game, updating stores way more often is the answer. Is sum up of this very, very long and lovely speech.
Yeah, I see. As I think is, in my opinion, it's so connected. It's connected to the frequent updates and those old items and stores as a rewards of the events. Is that correct? It's so connected.
Yeah. It is all connected.
Yeah. We wish them to stay connected because we have an impression that you simply forgot about some elements. Which brings me to the next question. Would you consider discontinuing some of these elements which are extremely outdated? And from my talks with players, they are completely fine if you discontinue, for example, Astrologer or Dark Mystic, or Gunpowder Legends, or anything which wasn't updated since a year or longer. Would you consider such move?
Okay, I got it. Let me talk to this. Okay, it's got an answer that GoG had this kind of other method, other way to run, and we also have some we found some other games just like GoG exactly. So well, yeah. We do consider about this issue before every update, but as our developer said, it's totally other way to do it.
Okay, so the last question from this section is about the scrolls. It's kind of connected, so you may just confirm that you or not that you're considering it. Will you update scrolls in all rewards as to behind one behind of the newest? Because we still have like first source scrolls like 4 or 5 ages ago as rewards, and it would be really beneficial for both groups, max spenders and for smaller spenders.
Okay. Is it about update scrolls?
Yeah, scrolls
No
as the item. This is the most important item as a reward. I may say,
Yes.
arguably, of course.
Yes, I agree with this part. That's the most important item. Okay. Okay. Actually, we didn't mention this part before, and about rewards of the events and those items in stores. They're technically they're the same thing. That we have both have new players in new kingdoms, so they need the lower level of scrolls of items to grow up, and we also have hosts. We have had some new scrolls in stores and as our reports in the recent updates. Yes, we have updated some new scrolls in there. We just didn't post any notifications in game, so maybe you don't know that. Like in Cardamom stores, we had like the Fire Demon, right?
Fire
Scrolls.
Demon
Yeah.
is 2 seasons behind.
Yes, and so we're considering to post the new one, the upper level scrolls in the shop, and the other example is like the mining loot, the mine store. We have the like the green one, the Earth Coat of Arms handbook store.
Earth Coat is 2, almost 3 seasons behind. Continue.
But basically, if we focus on the coat of arms, the Earth is the level 8, and the newest one is level 9.
And you are 2 months away from releasing 10.
I don't have the update schedule for now, man. So
I mean, if I know you're 2 months away, you know you're 2 months away.
2 months away.
Ish on average. We are so addicted to this game that we literally take so much time. Like you guys can see the amount of time that we're in game, right? You can judge what we do based on how much time we are online. We are a community that literally spends hours not online talking to each other outside of the game, partially because one of the bugs and glitches that you guys have is the fact that all of your room and inter-kingdom communication possibilities are so
Limited.
behind the times of where the community should be that we need to use a separate app. You use a separate app for your VIP service because your in-game service can't handle it. So we are consistently in line all day long, talking about these things, doing these things, like conversing with each other, staying connected to the community that you have created for us. It's one of the biggest things that we love about the game. And this is just one of those topics. We sit there and we discuss over and over again about how it there's no reason. Like you sit there and you say like new players need new stuff. They don't, because they could get the new stuff and just build the new stuff, or like they could just build a season behind.
Yes, there's one exception, and this is gear, because you build the gear based on the older one, starting from Pursuer, I think. These scrolls are exactly in KVK rewards still. Pursuer scrolls are in KVK rewards, and the screenshots with these rewards are constantly shared with laughing behind, because this is so old that no one needs these scrolls. And what you say that new players needs them, they can obtain them easily by chasing threads, which is a free-to-play activity, or they can pay for elixirs, which are very cheap because they are outdated. So trust me when we say to you that we do not need scrolls older than one behind the newest, because
I mean,
although
not to mention the fact that in the stores on newer kingdoms, you literally just flat out sell the pieces. Like you will sell. Like I've literally purchased Pursuer gear in a newer kingdom. Just flat out purchased it without free to play because it's there for me to purchase. I don't actually need to grind for those scrolls, and I don't need to sit there for KVK to get it.
So what we're trying to say is that thanks for your concern about the newest players, but they will do just fine just basing on threads or on small packs, and you would do much better if you simply updated all these places which contain very old scrolls. KVK as a fine example.
Okay, I got it. I didn't finish it. So
Sorry.
we have made some no problem. We have made some changes about the rewards, and we never put some notifications about it. So maybe you don't know. You just treat it as the same thing. So we are working on that. We know what the problem is. We know what you need.
Okay, we can go to quickly to point 4. So this is this.
Guards and gambles. Guards and gambling aspects.
Okay, for the questions, let's do with the first one.
Yeah. So, will you consider changing standard and master recruitment? Standard recruitment gives literally nothing to players right now. Like even new players. We need to see green guards like discontinued, and purple guards should be available there instead.
Okay, for the probability of getting of the recruitment, so it's kind of hard to change the data or authority of this stuff. So, do you have any suggestions to make like improve this whole system, the guard system, the recruitment system?
Of course I do.
Okay.
I mean, players do in general, but one of the things that I would say is that this is a personal statement. I know that I've shared this personal statement before, and I know that players have agreed with me. I feel like Muffin's gonna end up nodding to me a ton on this. You guys, so we had our old guard system. You revamped it. You released that week-long event where we got to test what guards do now, and then we only had cards for a little while. And in the most recent patches that you threw out there, you reintroduced guard fragments. All right, sun badges, reintroduced guard fragments. You brought them back around, and now they're here. And they're just sitting in our bags, and they're making everybody really angry. Because most of them are useless, or we're not getting the right amount of the right thing to build enough for one card, and they're just sitting there to be scrolled over. So I don't understand why you would reintroduce fragments and not reintroduce alchemy. It's coded. You already have it done. It's work that you did in the past that you could easily re-implement into the game. We used to be able to trade guard fragments for other relevant fragments or experience, and you reintroduced fragments and didn't reintroduce the trading system, which is just like infuriating everyone because it's just sitting there doing nothing, and no one wants to keep buying recruitment banners or sun badges to have 1,000 different guard fragments sitting in their bag that they can't change for something else. So, like, why implement one thing and not re-implement the trading system? When it comes to elixirs for guards for equipment, which is another gamble that a lot of players have a lot of issues with, because the drop rates in that is just absurd. All of the drop rates, the fact that you don't take into account anymore what players currently have, that's something that can be built into an algorithm, but sure, it's difficult. So like, it doesn't take into account what we have in terms of guards, and you've taken away our ability to exchange what we don't need anymore, and people are so overly infuriated about it that big castles are posting on your Facebook page talking about how it's a scam.
Okay, I got it. So first about trade system of the fragments, right? That's the solution. That's just a suggestion of the solution, right?
There's two solutions that need to happen. Drop rates need to be better.
Mm-hmm.
It can happen with effort. The algorithms there, the fact that the drop rate doesn't account for what players currently own is the problem.
Okay.
That's the problem with drop rates. So one. And then the second thing is that the extras that people have
Should be
in
exchangeable.
every gambling aspects, the extras that we have need to be tradable.
Yeah.
You already have the coding for guard alchemy to be able to trade old fragments back into guard experience, newer fragments. We still see the pot in creation. There's no reason to not see the pot for guards.
New
Okay.
banners.
So the trade system is supposed to work on guards and equipment scrolls, right?
With equipment scrolls, you guys have given us some form of trade element, because with extra scrolls, we are able to put and build that extra scroll into March Cap. We can rune it into March Cap eventually. So when you recreated this new gamble system for guards, you did implement some form of trading system for our extras, which we are happy about. I wouldn't want to take away rune from the players. We appreciate the extra March Cap. And when we get those extra scrolls, we're not mad about it because we get extra March Cap out of it. It's the drop rate there that really drives people crazy, because no one can land a trident right now.
Okay, about this suggestions, we already take it, and we'll consider about it later. And I'm sorry about time is tight, so we still got 4 questions.
Yeah, hi.
I have one question, maybe.
Yeah.
I do hope you read the letter, because everything is there. Even if we didn't ask any questions, you have the questions, so you may see what's our major concern, and it's reflected in the letter. My question for now is: are you able to? Will you implement new update like you planned? I think it's next Monday, and it was supposed to be gems. Are you planning to do so?
Okay, just to get it answered. Next, the gem will come out regularly.
And this will be a single update, or are you planning to implement any new guards, for example, with it?
No other stuffs, just
Okay.
gyms.
Okay, so I assume that we're heading to the end. So I'd like to also
Can I just ask?
yeah.
I'm sorry, this is Luca. Can I just ask? I think an important question to the big players
Sure.
is regarding migration, please. We haven't talked about that. What are you planning in your next steps? Are you planning to go from Kingdom 100 to 200, and then are you doing that once a month, or are you doing that maybe a little sooner, or perhaps would you consider making it more fair for the newer kingdoms, and maybe allowing them to migrate sooner, or what are you doing with that?
Yes, as our notification game shows that each month we have the migration event. It depends on when the kingdom opened. So this time is 1 to 100, and the next time I don't know, but some kingdoms are open for next event.
This needs
next
to
month.
speed up. This needs to speed up because I've already saw Kingdoms 200, 500 complaining that they have no chances with first 100 because K12 is boosted, K52 is boosted, 97, 19, and that means Kingdom 500 plus, where Lucas from, will have migrations in 4 months. That means 8 KVKs in worse positions. So could you consider speeding up this process a bit?
Okay.
Every 2 weeks, maybe?
Okay. Okay. So this is our last question. So I got an answer about the migration plan. So we have 100 kingdoms as a group. So we open the migration event each month. So 5+ kingdom should be the December, January, February, March.
Yeah. Almost half of a year. Yeah, that's a lot of time.
Yeah, most for months. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so
now that's a plan.
can I ask a follow-up question? Is there a way? Can the servers handle doing 2 groups of migrations at the same time? 2 sets of 100 kingdoms at the same time?
At this point, we're observing the results of the outcome of the migration. So not sure on this point. So maybe, but for now, we still have the 1 group each month. For now.
Okay, I think everyone on this call highly suggests you trying to do 2 groups.
Yes.
200 groups per round. I'm not saying open Kingdom 200 to 400.
Yes, I got it.
200 to 300, 300 to 400 in the same round.
If your
It
servers,
has to happen.
yeah, if your servers handle it, yes, definitely.
I'd like to say something too. You also have to understand that, a big spender like me, I'm maxed. I'm already disadvantaged. There's a lot of players like me, and I don't know how are you going to change the way you match KBK now based on this migration? Because you match. I mean, we have 14 stars. Are you going to match us against Kingdom 52, who just migrated and just they're friends of mine. Maybe they won't kill me, but it's got me a disadvantage. Yes.
Yeah. We have answered this question before.
We hope for some.
Okay.
We hope so for adjustment here. Yeah, we really count on it.
Yeah, difference of stats before, so we're gonna try to rethink about it and make it fair and balanced. I'm sorry. The time is.
Yeah.
Okay,
so what I can say at the end, 1,500 people signed this letter you received during 2 days. So it basically reflects what is in our minds. So if you could read it and implement anything which is possible for us, for you to implement. And we really want to stay in the game, and we really want to see you make money out of it. Like, so the cycle wouldn't be broken for none of us. That's all we want.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
But we're thinking about it, and then we're working on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
If you guys have any other questions, you can contact our web service in line. Okay, and our web service will pass along the questions and comments or suggestions to Devs directly, and get an answer and feedback to you. Okay.
Yeah, Constance is amazing, by the way.
So is Laura. Don't hate on Laura. She is great.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.